For Crema Media's Polity, I'm Saneh Dlamini. Author Magoulianiti-McGregor chats to me about her new book, How to Marry a Politician and Survive. So Nia, tell us, what inspired you to write this book?
I was inspired by the craziness of South African politicians and how we relate to them in such a, sometimes such a visceral way. Like they make us crazy, but then we just watch them get married and we wonder, oh, what are they wearing? And walking down that red carpet at like the saunas. And we sort of, I think it's a bit of a love-hate relationship with politicians. And I find them quite fascinating. The type of person who will go into politics, I think, is very different to the type of person who's going to go into journalism and who's going to go into even architecture. So there's something about politicians that I find a little bit fascinating. I think it's that power thing they've got going.
Do you think there are ladies out there who are specifically on the lookout for politicians?
I don't think it's necessarily politicians. I think it's something about powerful men have always been very attractive to women. There's something about power that's sexy. There's something about power that can give you a better life, maybe. And I do believe that we can't be too politically correct about this kind of thing. Not every woman is in a position where she can go to, a fantastic varsity and get a fabulous job. Sometimes she just may need to improve her life by improving the quality of the guy around her.
And what response have you had so far?
Well, I've had varying responses. I've been accused, for example, of taking feminism back 20 years, and I say that's 100% correct. If you can afford to be a bourgeois feminist, that's absolutely fine. Then stick to your principles, you find an equal, whatever. So yes, so I've been accused of taking feminism back. I think it's true, but I do think that sometimes it's necessary to marry well and to marry up. Also, I really do want to say that this is also a bit of fun, and it's a lot of social commentary in the book. It's not really just about marrying a politician. It's about who are these people, what's happening in South African politics. I joke about corruption, but it's there. It's political satire. It's not just a how-to book.
Your book, Nia, it highlights questionnaires where you try to assist readers who are looking to marry politicians, putting them on scales of achievement. Tell us about the process you used to come up with these questions.
You know what, that was the most fun that I had in the book, because I didn't know I was going to do it. Like a book can be very organic. So I just started writing, and I did these psychological profiles of, I've got a psychologist friend, and we started doing these psychological profiles on the kind of guy who would become the president, the kind of guy who's going to become the opposition, pay back the money, the kind of guy who's going to be the trade union, cool working class hero type. And then I thought, how will you know if that's really him? And so then we devised these questionnaires, me and a friend, and we just had fun doing it. So it's not serious. It's a little bit serious because some of it is actually based on psychology. And then I had fun throughout the book using what was happening in South Africa, like say landing at Waterkloof, the Guptas landing at Waterkloof for the wedding. I use things that in current affairs as well.
And can your book help other ladies who are perhaps looking to marry people in high positions, such as the CEOs in big companies, or is it specifically for the politicians?
It's based on the politicians for the political satire part of the book. But in terms of the how, there are two tiers to the book. There's the political satire, and then there's the how-to section. And for the how-to section, for sure, if you see I'm trying to think of the advice, for example, of Catriona Boffard, the flirt coach, and she gives specific advice on how to flirt. Of course, that will work for anybody if you do it right.
Who are the target readers of this book, Nia?
Well, they are genuinely women who really do want to marry like a powerful man or attract a man, I think, and not settle for less than they deserve. And I think the other part of the readership is people who just want to laugh about, it's a very local book. So it's something that you'll recognize. You'll recognize every single name in that book. It's not some, clever overseas book that, that doesn't relate to us as South Africans. It's just local, it's basic, but we all have a laugh at ourselves, and I think that's the sort of person that it will, that it'll attract.
And in your book, you make reference to a specific type of wedding, like Peggy Cele's wedding. Why did you focus on this?
Because that's the type of wedding you want to be able to have if you really want it. I mean, sure, you might want to, just have that quiet Nelson Mandela, Graça Machel wedding where it's really tasteful, but not everyone wants that. Some people just want the bling, and these politicians have bling weddings. Sophie and Daba's, talking about, there's destination weddings and there's, new sort of trends in weddings and new trends in wedding dresses. And the politicians' wives-to-be are right there at the forefront. They know exactly what they want. And they throw money at it, And as the EFF Sandile says, it's spitting in the faces of the poor. Sophie and Daba says, is it? It's creating jobs.
Wow.
You'll be the judge. And
what challenges did you encounter while writing this book? And can we expect other helpful guides from you in future?
I don't know. I don't know. It was quite intense writing it in a way, and I might do it again, but not this year. I had a very hard year last year when I was writing it. My mother got very sick. My mother died. I had to be back and forwards in Cape Town. And then, as a journalist, your biggest problem is also procrastination as a writer. And so I would leave it and I'd think, right, I'll start to make notes at the hospital bed. And so it was quite hard. Finally, I thought, oh my gosh, this deadline is here. And that's when then you just have to throw everything out the window and just do it. And I think probably that's how writers do their best work.
That was author Magoulianiti-McGregor speaking to Creamer Media's Polity about her new book, How to Marry a Politician and Survive.